What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Collective Comics and the 5th episode.
Episode number 5.
Number 5 of Lights Comics Action. My name is Javier. This is the homie Jake. The homie Jake.
Where did that come from?
I think I just keep saying it.
I always mean to ask you, and I never do.
I think I just keep saying the homie Jake because you're my homie Jake, you know?
This is the homie Javi Air.
But we
should make shoes called the Air Javis.
The Air Javis. I'm 100% down for that, dude. That would be so cool. That would be so sick. Yeah. I'm down for that. That's a new idea. Right there.
We start the camera and I just start getting them.
Right. But we had quite a few different things go on this week.
Oh, yeah.
We did some stuff last night, but that's mainly what we're going to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Should we just dive right into it?
Well, Titans came out. Titans started.
Yeah.
I don't think you're on that, but I'm on it. And
I'm not caught up.
This season is bloody.
Really?
Blood.
Oh.
There's blood everywhere.
That makes me excited.
This isn't a spoiler for Titans, so I'm not going to say too much, but I'm liking it. It's a dark season. There's blood everywhere. There's some cool characters coming in. We just got a new one in the episode last night. So we're filming this on Friday. Wakanda Forever. We saw Wakanda Forever last night.
Yep.
And then as soon as we got out of that, I came home and watched Titans.
Right.
So, we're 3 episodes in on Titans. Wakanda Forever. We're still in the aftermath of Deadly Duo.
Yep.
You talking about it made me pick it up. I just picked it up yesterday, and I'm about halfway through it. So I haven't finished it yet, but we're getting there. What else happened this week?
In terms of like what we're doing, I think we're doing the Deadly Duo review.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I did see you posting on the Instagram. If you guys haven't checked out the Instagram, go follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
You were posting on the story like, what do you do if Batman calls?
Oh yeah.
And it was like an
Titans.
iPhone. Yeah, from Titans. That's what I was gonna say. Is that
like the first scene?
Really? Yeah. That is cool because it just said
the
Bruce
Titans
Wayne.
were bowling and Bruce Wayne called.
Right.
Sent them to Metropolis, and that's how the whole season started.
There we go.
Oh man.
I was wondering how they got to because I saw you talking about it. Yeah. How they got to Metropolis and everything.
It's been a weird season.
Okay.
So they're in Metropolis and they can't leave. I think I need to do a short for the new episode that I watched last night, but
I feel like you're trying to not spoil it for me. You know?
I'm not trying. Like, this isn't spoiler. This is spoilers for Wakanda. This isn't spoilers for Titans. Last week last week. When did it come out? It came out on YouTube this week. Late last week, it came out on TikTok and Instagram. But the shorts that I used to do on my channel that we brought over to Collective Comics, we did the first Titans one. So it's kind of like the same thing. Like I try to kind of review and recap the episode without spoiling it. So
it's hard sometimes not to.
Yeah.
But
I think I have it down. But every once in a while, like I said, Superboy put a chokehold on a snake. It's like, where'd the snake come from? I know there's a snake, but you don't know yet. So
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You know it happened, but you have no idea what's going on with it. Or like they're in Metropolis, but you get that from like the trailer, stuff like that.
You little tease.
Yeah. I'm a teaser.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a little teaser.
That's so crazy. But
Deadly Duo, Instagram. I watched Batman 89 again this week, waiting for files to transfer and all that stuff.
Keaton.
I started a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. I've realized I'm like, I don't have like the mental capacity right now because I'm doing stuff, so I don't want to put something on that I'm like super into. So like I started Spawn a couple weeks ago, but I'm like super into it now, so I don't want to put it on in the background. I want to be able to sit and watch it.
Pay attention to it, yeah.
So then I'll start something else, and then that ends up in that same category. So now I'm like, I started like 3 things, and I'm like, I want to watch them. But
I'm the same way. I still haven't finished Spawn either. Ever since you told me about it, I was like, I immediately went home and I was like, okay, let's keep going.
Spawn, Daredevil. And now Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Daredevil.
I'm like half a season into all of them.
Right. I think didn't we have is Sony not signing the rights over? We had those big announcements.
Yeah, there's a whole controversy, I guess, and well, like we've said in the past, this is what we read on the internet, and you can't always believe it. Take it with a grain of salt. But what I read was Spider-Woman and
Spider-Man.
No, Spider-Woman and Kingpin are like in this limbo between Marvel and Sony.
Yep.
And Sony doesn't want this to happen and Marvel doesn't want that to happen. I don't have like all the details on that. So right now, Kingpin is in like a limbo and Spider-Woman's in a limbo, but now Spider-Man's also in a limbo going the other direction because apparently there's going to be like a new season of Daredevil and they wanted the MCU. Spider-Man's make an appearance, but Sony said this and that, and it's like there's a whole. It sounds like chaos. It's a mess.
Yeah.
And so Spider-Woman, Kingpin, and Spider-Man sound like they're all kind of on the ropes right now for a couple different things.
Yeah. Might get shelved or something.
And I know you brought up Secret Wars, right? Because, we're hoping to see all these people in Secret Wars, but if we can't get rights to them in the MCU, then this happens. And
what's it going to be like,
I'm a little confused, though, because Daredevil, the show, has Daredevil and Kingpin in it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go into, like, She-Hulk that just came out, and you go into, is it not Homecoming, Far From Home? What's the next one with Mysterio?
No
Way Home.
Yeah,
No Way
there
Home.
it is. I was like, it's something home. I was like, I'm not going to be able to.
So Daredevil's in that. Daredevil was in She-Hulk. So, like, I guess, like, I'm confused where that crossover happens because there's obviously crossover coming from that show to the MCU. But apparently, like, Daredevil's not part of it, or you know what I mean? Because he's...
I think it's the issue with Spider-Woman and stuff because they're all in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So they're having issues. They're trying to pull these characters into the MCU, and with those... contracts and stuff like that are so sketchy. I feel like there's too much money to be made for both sides for them to do this and like actually shelve it and cancel it. But so I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. But it's if they don't go through with it, like they're just gonna have to kind of not necessarily rewrite Secret Wars. They're gonna they're gonna have to change it.
I'm just
change certain things.
I'm confused because there's already crossover from the same storyline. You know what I mean? Daredevil's crossing back and forth. He's in the MCU and he's in the show.
Mm-hmm.
The show already has a Kingpin, but I don't know. I guess that's the specifics. I don't know. Like how come?
Me neither.
How come Daredevil can cross into the MCU but Kingpin can't? And why is MCU able to use Daredevil? But not Kingpin, and then why is the MCU able to use Daredevil, but Sony's not able to? You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's however they wrote the contracts is what it comes down to in legal terms, and that's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is all like it's individual character based. I'm sure, you know what I mean. So maybe they let Daredevil go over, and then like they started seeing money over there, and they're like, hey, give us more for these other two characters, but then. I mean, I like Kingpin and I like Spider-Woman, but they're not as big as like Spider-Man and Daredevil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I mean,
you're not at all. Spider-Man's like the biggest ever.
But I'm saying like in the Daredevil story, Kingpin's pretty big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's his villain.
Right.
Like the Joker is Batman's.
That was so confusing to me too, because like I'd always kind of heard that about Kingpin, but I grew up with Kingpin and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The
animated series and stuff.
The Kingpin white suit.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So when I started hear that, no, he's a Daredevil, I'm like, no, he's not. Like I grew up with him as Spider-Man. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But yeah. So that was a whole like flip on its head for me. Is that something people say?
I don't know.
That's something I say. That's something. A flip. It's a flip on his head for me, homie Jake.
The homie Jake. All right, homie. Well,
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever, man. This is the review. We went and saw it last night.
Yes.
This is the next thing that the MCU has put out since She-Hulk.
I don't know fully your take on the movie, but before we get into anything or bashing or dabbing up or anything and Marvel, what they did with Chadwick and the moments of silence, man, that stuff was heavy.
That's what I was about to get into.
And man, that made me feel all kinds of ways. And then they did spoilers, by the way. We're getting into spoilers.
It's right here. That's why I wore this hoodie, and I wore one last night too with Black Panther on it. It was white.
Yeah.
And you told me that was a thing.
Yeah, I
didn't realize that.
I just heard it in passing, so I didn't know if it was a real thing or not a real thing, but I guess people were wearing like plain white tees and
all white.
I heard different variations from different people. I don't have like any white really.
Yeah.
Like I have like the jersey and stuff that I wore in the book breakdown, but like I don't know. I feel like I would do a disservice to everybody if I wore plain white. But y'all don't want to see that.
Yeah, you like me and Nicole, my girlfriend. She showed up wearing the Collective Comics coin one, and that's a white shirt.
Yeah.
You asked us if we did that on purpose, and I didn't realize that. And then once we got in the movie, and that we're gonna get into it now, and that first scene started,
Like
I immediately
the
ceremony and everything. I immediately realized that once you said the white, and I was like, there it is, you know. And that started, and you know, now I've seen for, you know, almost all the way through. I think I fall asleep at the very end because they're kind of long movies of the first Black Panther.
Yeah,
you know, but I was never too attached to the Black Panther, or anything like that. But they start going through that ceremony, and there was like this big moment of silence.
Yeah.
And then
they did the whole Marvel instead of all the superheroes. It was all him. It was all Chadwick. You know,
the Marvel logo came right across that screen. It was it ended on him, and it was silent in that movie that you could hear a pin drop, and I almost started crying.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding you, and it's not somebody that I was like emotionally attached to, you know. But I know the situation, you know, and everybody knows the situation.
And just like all the good
away.
You've heard of him before the situation, and you know,
that's our Black Panther.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's Black Panther, and you know, the music, they didn't have very much of any music. Almost, it was mainly like just wind and ambience going through that ceremony. It was really, really awesome. There was 2 moments of silence in that movie, and both times,
and
I literally almost started crying in the middle of the theater.
The theater wasn't like by any means packed, but there were people in there, and everybody was just like
nobody wanted to breathe.
Quiet. Yeah,
nobody wanted to breathe. I didn't want to breathe too loud. It was dramatic. It was crazy.
It like felt like I was like in the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
it felt like I was there, and I was like, it felt like I was, you know, there celebrating his life with the people in the movie and everybody behind us.
Yeah, it was like all of us shared that moment almost. It was crazy. The
goosebumps that went. I've had goosebumps a lot of times in my life, but never anything like that went down my spine, and everything just like shook like crazy. I was so cold, and then like I almost started crying, and I was like, this is nuts. Amazing job.
Yeah, they did it. They did it again at the end of the movie too. There was a moment of silence at the end too for him, and again, like everybody
got quiet.
Like I mean, during the movie, you kind of hear whispers and laughing, and you know, but both of those moments, it was so quiet, and everybody, it was like we were all just experiencing something together. You know,
we were there,
and
you know, it reminded me of Furious 7. With Paul Walker,
when they see you again, and
that's the same emotion, but almost even more. You know,
I mean, the silence was heavy.
It was crazy.
Yeah, because like during Fast and the Furious, you got the "See You Again" song playing out, and the car was driving off, and that really sparked an emotion too. But this was
heavy.
Silence, like you could feel it in your body.
I know. I don't know if you can like see it on my face right now, but I feel like I'm like getting those emotions back right now. Like just talking about it, it was insane.
Yeah.
But you know, like as I was just saying, from the first thing that we're seeing since She-Hulk, amazing, amazing, especially in comparison.
Yeah,
I was a little scared.
I don't think technically it's the first thing since She-Hulk, but
is it not?
I think Werewolf by Night came out in between. And I've heard good things, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. I haven't had
a chance to watch it either. Yeah, you know what? You're right. But first big movie.
Right.
And I was scared that they were going to take the movie in a direction that they took She-Hulk. You know, they didn't.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't. There was some funny aspects in there and stuff like
They
that.
did it really well, though.
Exactly.
They did the humor like they used to.
Yep.
You know, like the Tony Stark.
Very
smart,
phase
yeah.
1, phase 2-esque.
I don't remember his name. It's the dude from Wakanda from the other tribe, the leader of like the gorilla tribe.
Oh, I have a list here of all the actors.
He had
and everybody.
moments, and he created that he created a laugh with just his body. I can't pronounce that.
Okay, I don't know if that's him. Is that him though?
I don't know.
Wakabi? Was it? No, or are you talking?
This guy.
It just says Jabari
Baku.
Warrior.
M'Baku.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna murder names. Like I can't. I can't. I have a hard time with like Jim and Jeff every once in a while. These, no disrespect, but like names are hard for me. Words are hard for me. But that guy, he would just come on screen and I would like smile. Just like his body, whatever, the attitude that
mannerisms.
Like the way that he
spoke, his body language.
Body language, yes. That's the words I was looking for. As I just said, words are hard for me. He would just get on screen and he wouldn't even say anything, and his body language I would just start laughing, and then he'd just say something sarcastic. I'm like, yeah, this dude is dope.
I feel like there was a long space in the movie
humor.
before humor happened.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then humor started happening a little bit, but then it wasn't by any means too much.
No.
You know, with me especially, I feel like lately I've been ripping on the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give them big props for this movie and this one, especially with those memorial scenes.
I actually started. I think I went into this because I have a weird. I didn't even know anything about Black Panther for most of my life, and then I went back every once in a while. I just binge watch a bunch of random stuff, and I had watched like an old Avengers animated series, and Black Panther was in there, and that was before he was even in the MCU. It wasn't even announced yet. I was immediately drawn to that character. And I think a month or two after I watched that, the trailer dropped for Black Panther, like the first movie. I'm like, this is gonna be dope, and that movie was so dope. And so like, again, Black Panther's my guy.
Yeah.
not to
Just like Nightwing.
Every character. I get really drawn to characters, if you guys haven't noticed. But I also feel like I have like really 3 tiers of like, this is my group. This is the group that I follow. I think a lot of people are like this, but this is the group that I follow, like the Red Hoods, the Nightwings, Black Panther, Ant-Man for some reason, stuff like that. And then I just have this other side of like, I could really care less if they're in a movie ever again, or if I hear of me ever again.
Like Superman.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Superman fan.
Yeah, you're just like, you were telling me today that you were like with the Black Adam drop, you were just like, I could care less. Dude.
Yeah,
I'm
I just didn't care.
We saw this past week the death of Superman, the 30th anniversary issue.
Yeah,
that was what my weekly spotlight is. We're reviewing or taking a look at. I have 2 copies of the first print.
I saw a bunch of them yesterday, and I did not grab any of them.
Well, I have the first print, like from
the old
the
one?
90s, from 30 years ago.
But then in the middle, like there's just a lot of other characters that like I like them. They're cool.
Yeah.
And then, but like they're not like my go-tos. That being said, Ironheart, I was super pumped about.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess going back to what I was saying originally, I think I had built this movie up a lot in my head, like going into it. So I try not to, but I think I naturally just had higher expectations. So after the ceremony was so heavy, there was a big chunk of the movie where I was like, nothing's happening.
It got a little slow.
And then it just started ramping up from there.
I'm not going to lie. Did you see me fall asleep?
No, I didn't.
I fell asleep.
I didn't see you fall asleep.
I fell asleep. I was fighting it for a second, and I had to like get up and like really readjust myself and like sit up straight for a second and open my eye, like because it was a deep dramatic scene, but I get so drawn into movies and I get so like relaxed that my eyes just want to go, and I'm sitting there like. I was sitting there at one point with one eye open and one eye shut, like trying to fight it. And I'm like, and then I would take a break and I would go, okay, this is what's happening. Okay, now he did this.
We've been going to late showings too.
Yeah,
we've been going to the late ones.
I fell asleep. It was only for like a minute or maybe 2 minutes, but I definitely was fighting it for a second. And then I woke up and then I was fine.
Yeah.
You know, and then we really got into some cool stuff. And then it was easy to stay awake.
I feel like I understood why it was slow though, because, you know, you had a whole movie introducing Black Panther, and unfortunately he couldn't be in this one, you know, due to all the circumstances and everything. So now you not only have to introduce a new Black Panther, you're taking this time to also introduce Namor, and you're taking this time to introduce Ironheart. So it's almost like we got like a 1.5, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, so this is kind of a building movie. We're going to get introduced to everybody, and not a lot is going to happen, but then the end really, I like the end a lot. I think it picked up, and I was like, oh, they are doing something in this movie.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's the point when I finally was like, oh, okay, I'm awake now. It was really exciting at first, especially when they started introducing Ironheart and everything. And that was the first time you saw that suit. That was one of the first things you told me. Ironheart, I got a text from you right before the movie. Ironheart's going to be in it. I hate the suit. Yeah. And I was like, what's wrong with this? I didn't even know, really, because I mean, I knew that this movie was coming out, but I'm a DC guy. You know, I like Black Adam. I like Batman. You know, I like Superman. You know, my bad. But
hey, we can't all be right all the time,
right? You know, but I love I like Marvel. And I like Spider-Man, and there's Marvel heroes that I really enjoy. But not super invested in. And when I hear some things about Marvel, about certain movies, it's very easy for me to forget them. As to where when I hear something about a DC movie, it's locked in. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing. So I wasn't very invested. I honestly, I was a little scared because I went home, you know, for the last like 2 weeks, and I watched it twice, and I fell asleep at the end both times with the first Black Panther.
Oh, Black Panther, yeah.
You know, we watched it here once, so I guess I watched it 3 times.
Yeah, I got you so close to the end. You just had to, finish the.
That's about the point when I would fall asleep.
Oh man, you were falling asleep right before one of the best parts of the movie.
I bet. I know. I knew it too. So, not that I wasn't invested in it. I thought the first one was a great movie too.
Yeah.
You know, but I kind of felt She-Hulk had me in a I thought this movie was going to suck.
Oh, really?
I was like, they're not going to do it justice. I was like, they're not going to. I was like, I bet. I kind of figured they were going to have some kind of memorial or something. Yeah. And that was that, you know, and I thought that they were very quickly going to go over it and just try to get past it. And I'm almost glad that they didn't, you know, and and that's the part of the movie that was slow, but I feel like we kind of needed that.
And I mean, you're watching his sister like mourn her loss. You're watching his mom mourn the loss.
And you're feeling it.
And, you know, not only
and then she dies.
Yeah. That's great. Then she has to mourn a whole nother loss, but she does that with more revenge than anything. But not only mourning the loss of, you know, T'Challa, but her husband / their father had died in the previous movie. You know what I mean? So that's still not like you haven't completely ripped that scab off, and then you lose your son or your brother, and then she loses her mom, and you know. It's heavy. There's some heavy moments for sure, you know. And going back to Ironheart, I had found out that she was going to be in it, and I had recently just watched a whole animated series on Disney Plus, and I just told you about it. Now I'm not going to be able to remember the name of it. It's got Spider-Gwen in it, and it's got Captain Marvel puts together like a band of teens.
I know what you're
It's
talking.
like Teen Avengers, essentially. I don't remember. It's called like Infinity or something. Anyways, Ironheart's in that show, and so you get introduced to her. And in that show, spoilers for the show that I can't remember the title for. So
put it here.
in that show, she's at MIT and she makes an Iron Man suit, and it's like hidden under her bed.
Oh,
And then all of a sudden there's something going on, and Iron Man shows up, but he's acting weird and not responding to anybody. And then all of a sudden he flies off, and then pretty soon you find out it's this 15-year-old girl. So in the movie she's 19, but I think in like comics and stuff she's younger. Like she got into MIT
she's
early,
like really super genius. You know?
Yeah. But then at the end of the episode, I don't know how many people know anything about Ironheart, but she's in that really sleek, like pink armor.
Yeah.
And then we've been playing Marvel Snap, so I've been seeing her in that like crazy.
The cool armor. Yeah.
And then as soon as like I saw the armor wasn't the pink armor, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
What
Pink's
the
your
heck?
favorite color.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can.
Yeah, I love the
tell.
pink stuff,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. But it did make me feel better when she didn't take the armor with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would have almost rather her had her starting armor, like the one that's stripped down and just a frame, but, you know, she needed armor for the battle, and she made it in Wakanda, so all that makes sense. And
I think they did that on purpose,
Yeah.
purposely for a talking point and to make something else interesting, and just another little side story behind her armor.
yeah,
and how she got it.
we got an announcement for Ironheart, the series coming up.
Yep.
And I think Tony Stark's in that too. And you know, I'm hoping she gets the arm or builds the armor, or you know, I hope
With him. Yeah.
I hope that armor's still coming, and that would make me feel so much better about the armor in this movie.
Well, they're gonna skip over all of it, and Tony's just gonna be like, "Here, put that on." Like,
Yeah.
that's what's gonna happen. But I would like to see that. I would like to see that play out and like them build a suit
Yeah,
together.
for sure.
And it be. I feel like they have a really cool potential to make that a really cool suit.
I mean, the pink suit is so cool. I hate red and I love pink, and I just want. That's why Iron Man is cool, but why red, dude? Red and gold.
I think it looks cool.
I mean, it does.
Looks
Anyways.
like a Chevy red.
Tony Stark in his Chevy Iron Man suit, the Iron Man F-150.
Right.
Off topic, but in Texas, when I lived in Texas, there was a dude with a motorcycle, a crotch rocket, street bike, whatever you call them. And it was all Iron Man'd out. It was all red, gold.
That's cool.
And then he had an Iron Man helmet for his helmet, and it was super dope.
That's sick. I really want that one helmet that
the-
Jarvis opened the mask.
Yeah. But maybe a little spoiler. We're just full of spoilers, and I mean, it's a review, so
Yeah,
it is
you're
what
kind of
it is,
you're gonna get them. You clicked on it. We told you in the beginning. So
A little bit of a story behind Ironheart is she built the first suit herself and couldn't figure out the AI part of it and was having trouble with the AI. And then she actually meets Tony Stark, and then in that storyline, I believe Tony Stark dies, and then something gets sent to the Ironheart character, and she opens it, and it's Tony Stark's like AI, like an AI of Tony Stark, and it's like, I've created this. If you're getting this, something bad has happened to me. Like, I'll be your AI for your suit, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in the trailer for Ironheart, we see like a hologram of Tony Stark. So
that's cool.
I'm hoping we're moving to like that final, like the Ironheart final form, which I'm super pumped about.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, how did you feel about the whole, like his sister getting to that and getting that whole journey through the mourning and grieving, and then her getting that suit? And
I felt that it was definitely done justice. I feel like you kind of needed that.
yeah,
You know, it takes time to get through that, and I feel if they would have went too fast over the mourning process and her, because like if she would have just immediately became Black Panther, and the whole movie was just action, I almost feel like that wouldn't have justified,
yeah,
you know, the death that, you know, of the Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like
you
that's,
kind of got the struggle, and then you had a reason why she put the suit on. You know what I mean?
And it really, especially, you know, I wasn't completely disconnected from the story and everything, but for somebody that maybe hasn't still watched the first Black Panther,
yeah.
You're gonna feel it.
Oh yeah.
You know, you don't need to watch the first one to feel it, and that is the respect I feel like he deserved.
Oh yeah.
He was great, and Yeah, it was long, and I fell asleep for those 3 to 5 minutes, that little period, but it I think it needed it.
Yeah.
I think it definitely needed it, and it was important in the story. As long as it did take to finally get her into the Black Panther suit and that whole thing. When it finally did happen, it was a very rewarding feeling. I just sat through that.
She had worked really hard on it, like making the
synthetic Purple Heart.
Right, yeah.
And like that was a huge thing. Because for the longest time they had said early on in the movie, and that's why I was almost scared that they were going to start moving past it so fast, that very early on in the movie she was like, today marks a year since your brother's passing.
Yeah.
Do you think you can start working on the Purple Heart again? We need a new Black Panther, and for Wakanda, and we need a protector and all this stuff. And she's just like, no, like it's not happening. She was just ignoring it. Like he died and that was it, and then finally to work on it and get it and become Black Panther is really cool.
I think you got to see a lot of dimension in the character too. You saw everything from her, sarcasm, like her being a younger character and her sarcasm and kind of like the know-it-all stuff. I mean, she is a very smart scientist and she makes all those gadgets. So like definitely well-deserved. But then you see her be soft, you see her be hard, you see her be, really political too.
Yeah.
Going into like the Namor stuff, like when he approached her like, hey, do this, bring Wakanda here, do this with us and we'll take over the world basically.
Yeah.
And she was very diplomatic about like her decisions and, I think
proved herself to be a good leader.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I don't know how because I don't remember her name either. The T'Challa's girlfriend / wife, she came to save her, and Nakia. Anyways, I think that's her name. She came to save her, and then it kind of stirred stuff up, and she had ended up killing one of Namor's people, and so I kind of. In that moment, it was almost like if she went to come, would she have been able to do this diplomatically and done it like more political and better than just kind of busting in, killing people and stealing prisoners,
Yeah.
But at the same time,
that's how we got the ending.
From her mother's point of view, you especially after everything she's lost in the past, like. I'm going to get my kid back. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I 100% get where I understand both sides and I'm just like, no. I was doing that the whole time. No. Like, just don't go. And then I kind of figured, once it was getting to that moment when she showed up, I was like, she ruined it, and then there it is. But,
talking about Namor.
Yeah.
Namor looked cool as hell.
I thought it was really cool. I was really happy to see him, especially knowing him from the comics and stuff.
Yeah.
Nicole laughed and she thought he was really funny looking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see that.
She was like, I saw the wings on the ankles and I was done. She was just like, I hated him. And I was like, why?
I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, it reminds
a really old character.
It reminds me of like Hermes, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm newer to him too. I didn't know a lot about him, and then all of a sudden he just starts popping up everywhere. He was in the King in Black stuff, which I just finished, or I am working through the book breakdowns of, and he pops up in there, and I didn't know exactly who it was, so that immediately was like, who's this guy? So I started a search, and then I think he was just in something else that I read.
We got a big cameo in the beginning of when we were starting to see Namor.
Where? What?
We got Assassin.
I don't know about this.
This is the lady dressed in the Chinese like Oriental gown in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Had like very like China doll face paint on.
Oh, okay.
With the little lips. That was Assassin, and I thought she was gonna have a pretty big role in the movie. I was like, I didn't know. I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no
idea.
Maybe they did it for this reason because now you're telling me, and now more people are going to go into the next situation knowing more. Yeah, because now I have to find out who this is.
I can give you the first appearance. I have the first appearance. If you guys want to check it out on whatnot, we do. I do have the first appearance, but that's what I got excited about, and then nothing else happened. She's called the Assassin or Assassin. I think she wasn't introduced into comics until like '93 in a Marvel annual, Namor #1.
Okay, that brings up another question that I had for you, but I want to finish Namor before we move on to something else.
Okay.
But yeah, I was seeing him everywhere because then in Snap he's in there.
Yeah.
I was watching a video on like this is Marvel's version, this is DC's version, kind of comparing who came out first and similarities. And it was like Aquaman, Namor. I was like, who is this guy? Like
Aquaman.
Yeah, like I keep seeing him. Hey, his place, his palace, his kingdom,
his origin story that we got.
I'm talking about in the movie where he lives. That was beautiful.
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really cool once we got down there and they like put that mask on. No, I'm losing names, but they put the mask on her and they all like scuba dived, down there pretty much. That was.
Well, they
that
put
was
the
really
suit
cool.
on her. Remember, he like.
Oh yeah.
He's like, you can't go down there. We'll crush you. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, or you can wear a suit.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That was funny. She had the big suit on, and then you just see him taken in like the not a riptide, but in the
current undertow.
And then they shoot down there, and then he's like up there. You see a silhouette, and then all of a sudden she gets over, and you just started to see everything light up. And I thought that was beautiful. I thought this whole movie was beautiful. I thought
CGI was awesome. I thought
Zach went with us.
Yeah.
And he said there was one part in like a really far away background that he caught at the beginning, and now I have to like see it again.
Oh, of course he did. He's the guy to do that.
Yeah.
He caught that. But
So I
was looking. I caught a couple things.
I need to see it, and I need to see that because he said it looked like the people were on like Sega Genesis in the background.
That's funny.
But I mean, there's going to be imperfections. I mean, it is CG
It's
at the end of the day, but like the amount of CG that had to have been in this movie, like
It's a lot.
if you're only seeing a couple little instances, that means that stuff is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because out of however many CG shots were in this movie to like you seeing a couple.
All right, we had some technical difficulties there. Sorry, the camera cut out.
It was full. We talked too much.
A little bit, yeah. We can go on some long tangents, but as we were saying stuff about CG.
Yeah.
The CG in the movie, I thought it was very, very good. I didn't think that it was underdone, or I didn't feel like they cut corners on it. Like some of the stuff, like with She-Hulk, I felt like they cut corners, and they admitted they cut corners at the end of it, with stuff like that. And they didn't in this movie, and I am proud of them for putting out a very quality movie. The hole that I was talking about was what happened when that big ship made of vibranium came out, and they put that like subsonic frequency out that like called all them up to the surface, and then they like fought.
It didn't call them to the surface. It was
the point when I was like, and I was falling asleep.
Oh, really? That was such
and
a
that's
cool
my whole.
part. Yeah.
I know that's my whole. Like, but that was the part that I was fighting, and I was like, just finally like, okay, and then I was finally up.
So my understanding of it was not to like call them up. It was to like disorient them, so they could like kind of fight
weaker.
Yeah, weaker, but
It's like
also
kryptonite for Superman.
It's also like almost kind of getting them in waves rather than like all. You saw them all, all coming up to the boat. So like if you can disorient them and only like, waves of them can get through, and finally some make it to the boat. Like they're basically fighting off waves at that point instead of all of them like swarming the whole thing. Because then you saw the one Nemorian, right. I don't know what they're called. She had gone up and she destroyed it, and then after that you see everybody coming back and the whales coming back.
Right.
And, once they that was like their defenses almost.
Okay.
That's what I understood from it. I could be wrong, but because as soon as that went off, they all started like covering their ears and freaking out. And
so how long did they? Because from my understanding, it had to be within 24 hours of them coming back up to the surface and her daughter getting saved and things of that nature, I think. Like, in timeline of the movie. So, like, I felt like, where did that subsonic thing that was under the ship, where did that come from? How did they build it? And how did they know that that was going to affect them? If this is within a week of a timeline, like, if this whole movie covered, you know, after we got past that point of when they said it's been a year since your brother's passing, once you got past that point, I feel like this is probably about a week or two.
I didn't really get that impression. Definitely a short time. But I felt like
everything was kind of happening all at once.
Because I mean, there was also kind of like a montagey point where like Ironheart was building her suit. She was finishing the Purple Heart. She was, you know, it was kind of montagey at that point.
I never saw them build that thing though.
No, they never showed it build it.
That was my thing. Where did that come from? How did they know?
There was like a moment where she was like, if we're going to do this, we have to get it done now. Like, we have to take it to them before they take it to us. And then you kind of got washed resolution into the ship, you know?
Yeah.
So there wasn't like,
that was the impression in time that I'm like, that's a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
they didn't explain that, but I think also, I mean, it would have been nice to see.
I don't think it's a month down the line.
Right. Maybe not.
I don't think it's long enough to build a thing and yet alone be able to find their weakness like that. That was my only hole with anything, really.
I think that's definitely some movie magic there, you know, because not the realistic timeline kind of thing. But
because that was my Eternium bubble thing with the whole thing. But I was like, okay, so that's how they nerfed him, you know. But I'm like, why, like. That was, I was like, okay, if this is like making them, and this is their defenses, and this is making them weaker or calling them up, or however this is working. How did they know that this is going to work? That this is their weakness? That this, this frequency is going to do that?
They did come to like an epiphany, if you will, of like Namor's weakness.
That's I don't think I caught it then.
Okay, yeah, because
that's the question and that's why I was like, I could have been because I was like half passing out, you know, at a certain point.
Her and Ironheart were in the lab, and they're like, why is he different than everybody? What makes him different? Everybody else has to wear like breathing apparatuses and like cover their gills on their neck.
He breathes through his skin.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, so he breathes through his skin. And when he was attacking Wakanda, he went back underwater and then shot out stronger than when he went in. So they're like, okay, so that's how he gets his strength. And then that's when they decide they're going to change that one ship into basically like a heating element to dry him out.
They like evaporated it out of him.
So like that was his weakness. But as far as like building like that subsonic like thing, I don't know if they didn't talk about that.
That was my thing. That felt like such a big reason why they would have won, or else they would have just gotten their butt whooped. Yeah, like in my opinion, in reality,
I mean, it was destroyed pretty fast too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they got it pretty quick, but it was still like they kept going, and the battle was pretty much over, and then they just hadn't had Namor come over and say like, knock it off, you know, and
I think once it broke though, like it moved pretty quickly to not in Wakanda's favor anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I agree that it would have been nice to kind of at least get like a one-liner or something in there. Like, I bet they react to this, or like, I have this idea.
Just a little bit.
But also, like, I also see why they didn't, because there's so much.
There's a lot going on.
This movie had also already had so much explanation and so much introduction and so much.
It's really this big in the grand scheme of things. In reality, but that was. But that's also kind of what I'm pointing out is that it's this big in the reality of it. That's the only like mega hole that I found with integrating these two movies into each other, and then that's not even integrating the movies into each other. That's just a whole.
That's just like one fight scene.
Yeah, that I was like, that's a little weird. If they didn't have that, or if they would have destroyed that immediately, like they wouldn't be in this boat. But that's where I give it. That's the props I'm giving it. I guess. That's the one thing, but that's the hole that I did want to talk about. For that to be the only hole, really, you know, is makes it one hell of a movie.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
And Ironheart suit.
Yeah. Ironheart is. I'm excited to see where Ironheart's gonna go.
Yeah, me too.
That's gonna be a fun one. I liked her attitude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just kind of like not necessarily a punk kid, but you know, like just I'm a teenager. I'm gonna do it however I want to do it. You know, just the attitude and everything behind it. It was really cool. Really cool. Like, modern take on a hero. You know, very like if a kid were to do that,
we're talking about Ironheart, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know
pretty
if you
good
were
modern
talking about
take.
his sister or if you were talking about Ironheart.
Ironheart, you know, because Iron Man is 100 years old. You know, all these people are technically, you know, these heroes have been around for a very, very long time.
I did hear. I think this is just people on the internet, but he was complaining about Ironheart and how her appearances in comics sucked and all this stuff, and people were upset about it. I'm like, go away.
I don't know if people are necessarily upset about it, but Ironheart, it hasn't never really been very extremely relevant.
Well, I think it sounded very much of the viewpoint, like he was complaining about all the female leads and stuff like that. That stuff irritates me so much. It's like there are female leads. Like I'm here,
like as if there couldn't be or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, these are
wrong.
like characters. Like, get the heck out of here. They did it with Miss Marvel, or not Miss Marvel, Captain and Marvel, and they do it. Like, I just don't understand.
But then they're fine with Black Widow.
Yeah.
I know why that reason is, and I think we all know what that reason. You know, but
that's so frustrating to me.
Me too. And it's kind of. Yeah. I can go on a big rant, and I can go off right now, dude. I'm like trying to stop myself.
I feel like that's kind of why I'm trying to move on, because otherwise words start to fly that we don't want in our podcast.
Yeah.
But bottom line, like, that shit needs to stop. Like, we're getting cool movies, we're getting cool characters. Who cares?
Just watch the freaking movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of people in the world, and there's all kinds of people in Marvel. There's all kinds of people in DC, and I like seeing all the variation and the diversity, and you know, I'm here for that stuff. So, but yeah, that was irritating to me. That's the only real thing that I saw like negatively about her, other than her suit. I saw. I can't get over it. I wasn't the only one that didn't like her suit.
You weren't.
I didn't. I wasn't the only one. But I also think I kind of justified it with myself, because like there was that time. There was not a huge time between her getting to Wakanda, the fight with Namor, and then the second fight with Namor and all of his army.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the fact that they got that put together in that time was like impressive more than anything. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And I mean, I also attribute it to like Wakandans. They're so advanced that like they can do those things, and they can make that weapon that was on the bottom of the boat, and they can make all that stuff.
That's why I was like, how long did that realistically take them, and why can they just like done, you know? But
yeah, when like, give me what's her name? What's the sister's name? I keep just saying his sister, and I want to say her name.
I do the same thing because I'm gonna keep losing it. Shuri.
Oh my god.
I know. The second I saw it, I was like, oh.
And it's in again, Marvel Snap. Shuri's like workstation or lab is like one of the locations right now. So like Shuri could just be like, because she has that AI, and she's like, what's the percentage of success? And he'd be 98%. And she's like, print it, do it, let's get it done, you know, kind of stuff. So, you know, they can do all kinds of stuff very quickly, and
it's like Jarvis.
Yeah.
That's the vibe that I got. I was like, that's her Tony Stark lab. You know what I'm saying? With Jarvis, and that's her AI, and those things. What about that Killmonger appearance?
I was going to ask you.
I know. I said something to you. I turned and looked at you, and I was like, I bet you they're going to do this, and totally slipping the fact that he because I knew he was supposed to be in this movie.
Yeah.
We knew Michael B. Jordan was going to be in it.
He was credited.
We up until that point, I didn't even realize that he wasn't in it yet.
Yeah, that's how. Throughout the whole movie, I had forgot that he was supposed to be in it, and
because we kept getting all these appearances,
and we got a really good story. Yeah, like the movie was really good in my opinion.
Yeah,
you know, so it literally. I'm a Michael B. Jordan fan, and it just completely made me forget that he existed in this timeline. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And then what you had turned to me and said is actually what Olivia said too after the movie, because you were worried that they were going to CG T'Challa into the...
I wasn't necessarily worried. I got excited.
Oh, really?
I was like,
Olivia was very worried.
I wasn't necessarily, because they did it with Paul Walker.
Yeah.
You know, with your set. So I knew they had the capabilities to be able to do that kind of stuff.
I think, and I agree with Olivia because she kind of brought this up. Like, I kind of, for a split second, thought that it would be him, but I immediately went to her mom. You know, with her mom just passing and her going to the ancestors, and I immediately thought it was her mom.
That's where I went first too.
And then Olivia, you had talked about the CG, but you thought maybe they were going to CG him, and then Olivia said it because like I didn't even really think about it until like we were talking about it.
Well, I noticed that they were doing the suspenseful thing and they weren't revealing who was sitting in that chair yet, and I was like, I was like, look, and I saw the top of their head, and I thought it was her hat, the big purple hat that she would wear, the white hat, and I thought it was the top of her hat, and then I was like, oh, it's gonna be her, and then I was like, they're taking a second and building suspense to see who's in that chair for a reason, and then I was immediately like, they're gonna CG her brother in, and it's gonna be this whole like thing, like she's seeing her brother like the same way he saw his dad, you know, and Killmonger the same thing, still not thinking. Yeah, what was going to happen when they finally got around to that chair? I pooped. You know, like
so Olivia said, and I totally agree with her after hearing her. She was like, you can't do like the big ceremony at the beginning and have like the big moment at the end and talk about how he's gone.
It just can't be this whole thing.
And then just CG him in, like give him the respect to like leave him at peace, and things like that is like it almost feels like putting a fake him in the movie at this point would just like
disrespect that almost.
Not that it would be like super disrespectful, but like it almost would be. You know what I mean? Especially when you have another way to do it that makes total sense.
And the way they did it, I love the way that. The movie
100%.
I'm not at all disappointed that they didn't CG him in that chair. You know,
right? Yeah. And it makes total sense because you get that other side. You know what I mean? Because you have her with her family, even her brother, most of her life until this point. And then Killmonger brings a whole nother character, a whole nother mindset, a whole nother thing. And then, with the revenge thing. And then at the end, after everything's said and done, you get to see her kind of take the best of both sides. And I mean, she did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything she put together, and her heart and her drive after she broke the spear off, and she's still. That was the other one. I was like, she's not bled out yet. Like, oh no, that's not what I'm about to say, bro. You remember when she came out and Namor like went down and she went flipping over him? I thought she missed. Bro, I thought she was like, I'm gonna take him down. I missed. Olivia and I like looked at each other and both started laughing. I'm like, I thought she missed him, and she's like, I did too. Oh my god,
that is hilarious.
The bleeding out thing, that makes sense. But also, like when she kind of got it out, the suit kind of came back over her, and
he could have helped it.
Yeah.
I let that one be. I let that one be. I was more concerned about the ship for some reason.
I thought she freaking missed. Dude, we need to go back.
We're gonna go see it.
We need to go back and see this. No, you're not gonna be able to not see it.
Yeah, we should just do it anyway. I saw Black Adam twice.
Yeah, you did. I would definitely see Black Panther again.
Yeah, me too. That's what I feel very great about this movie.
I know, bro. After She-Hulk, you were on one. Yeah. You were like,
I couldn't even watch a DC movie without being like, that's how you do it, unlike the MCU.
Yeah. You would text me, you're like, Marvel's never making a good movie again. I'm not even gonna see Secret Wars now. You were like, I'm never buying another Marvel comic book. I'm never like you were.
I don't think I said that one.
No, I was you did say the rest about like Secret Wars and all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, I 100% did say that.
You were like, they're never making. I said
they're gonna ruin Secret Wars. They're gonna ruin this. They're gonna ruin that.
Yeah.
And after putting out crap, the movie's good.
Yeah.
But I don't think if they're gonna put out crap like She-Hulk, don't tie it into the MCU.
I think
don't even say it's part of Phase 4. Like just put out a show and let it be a show, and just don't tie it in.
The one
that's where they're messing up if they want to make shows like that.
The one thing that I think that DC is doing really well that I think Marvel is not handling very well is just the directors. Like, I feel like it's really hard. And I mean, Kevin Feige was on this one too as a producer and stuff. I don't know who directed this one, but I feel like if you kind of slow down your content and have your group of directors and have them making a product that's consistent, and then like kind of reassessing and being like, okay, we need to move in this direction, that direction. But then like on Marvel, you have this group working on Thor. You have this group working on She-Hulk. You have this group working on Werewolf. You have this group working on Wakanda, and I think that it's just like you're just not everyone's gonna be a home run because it's
not gonna be cohesive.
They have so many people working on so many different things so quickly, so like,
and each director has a different idea. Each director has a different style to where it makes it hard to tie things in together when you don't have, let's just say Steven Spielberg doing 3 movies in a row.
Yeah.
Those are all going to be,
I think,
the same vibe.
I think that's, what we've kind of heard so far about the DCU moving forward. Like they kind of want to get a couple directors and they want to put out a bunch of movies with those directors, with those writers. And I think if they do that and they stick to that, it's going to just benefit from that because you're going to get like an overall view on kind of how you want it to. Now, that being said, you kind of have to have other people on the outside being like, man, what about this? You know what I mean? Because like if one person or 2 people or however many people just get tunnel vision, you have to have somebody on the outside kind of putting second eyes on it. But
that's where the executive producer comes in.
Right.
And or, tiers of people.
Just the whole
different
team,
writers.
But I think that helps just to avoid that tunnel vision. But having, like, how many Marvel things have we gotten this year? You know what I mean? When you think about it, like, how many Marvel things have we gotten this year? So we've gotten Love and Thunder, we got She-Hulk, we got Moon Knight, we got Wakanda. I mean, there's probably a bunch more that I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
So how many of these things have been in production for how long, and how many different people are trying to make this storyline make sense together? And, when that
one
happens,
writer's writing this, one writer's writing that, and they both take in the story differently.
Or like when you get an edit, like you get a cut of it and you're like, oh, this scene was supposed to make that movie make sense in this part of the timeline, but then that
scene
didn't belong in the movie anymore, so they got rid of it. So now the timeline's all messed up, So I feel like what I was saying is I feel like that's where Marvel is kind of slipping, you know what I mean? Because like if you want all these movies to make sense and you want to pump this stuff out so fast, like there's going to be things that fall by the wayside. There's going to be packages that fall off the truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we saw that in a great way with She-Hulk. And I think they went in with half an idea and the other half was just to introduce some stuff. And I think it didn't translate well. You know what I mean? And
not at all.
It's kind of things like Love and Thunder. You had a director from Ragnarok that did really good, and then you're like, hey, do more of that. And he's like, okay. Yeah. And then, he went a little too far in a lot of people's opinion. But I mean, Love and Thunder was great for kids. So, you know what I mean? It's, there's push and pull, and there are people who love She-Hulk too, even after everything was said and done. And we have our opinions that you've heard a million times about She-Hulk and Moon Knight, but just putting out that much stuff, it's just kind of like throw it at the wall and see what sticks kind of mentality. I feel like introduce everybody however they get introduced is how they get introduced, and we'll kind of fix it later. It's kind of what it seems like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even before Secret Wars, we're gonna get
a lot.
We're gonna get, what is it? I just bought it yesterday. Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
So I mean that still has to happen, and you know we have a lot of stuff coming, and they still have movies and shows that are being announced that, you know, they have like a general path to Secret Wars and stuff, but there's still so many, like there's still
things
like,
that need to be filled, and
like there's still like a lot of speculation about a Hulk movie that's coming that we still don't even know the name of. Is it going to be
World War Hulk or something?
Is it going to be World War Hulk, or is it going to be a different Hulk story, or is what's Hulk's son's name?
Scar
is
son of Hulk. Yeah,
because Scar is part of another like mini Avengers group, and so are we going to get that instead, or you know, it's just there's so many things that they could bring this back, and they could do good by She-Hulk, but you know, it makes me nervous too, because like now we have Ironheart announced, and unfortunately it is another like female hero story introduction coming off
what
of
are they
She-Hulk.
gonna do? Yeah,
Like, are they gonna do something like She-Hulk again, or you know, are they gonna make it better? Because like we've seen them do good.
I hope they learned.
We've seen them do so much good, and we've seen them do so much bad. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to feel about it. I feel like I like a lot of DC stuff, but I feel like I do just naturally, what is the word? Gravitate towards like Marvel stuff, just because like we've been surrounded by it. Like outside of comics,
oh yeah,
we've been surrounded by Marvel for how long?
Well, there's not nearly as much DC movies, TV shows, and everything. You know, there's there's a bunch of different Batman shows and stuff like that as well. But like, there's a different version of every show almost now.
Yeah.
Like, there's like Spidey and the Amazing Friends, and that's like it's like a super little kid show, but like there's so many Marvel this and that, and you're just so overexposed to Marvel. You know, Spider-Man is everywhere. Spider-Man, I feel like, is probably the biggest hero in general. I feel like everybody knows who Spider-Man. Like, I mean, like obviously everybody knows who Superman and Batman are too, but like as far as somebody's gonna go see a movie, they're gonna go see Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like every time I go to see a Marvel movie, anything else has been kind of the same seating that we saw last night at Wakanda Forever. You know, there's some people in there, not too many. Well, when I went to see Spider-Man a week later, it was like packed. It was like sold out.
When we get a lot of, you know, if it wasn't for like the podcast and stuff now, like I would just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus, or I'd wait for it to come out on HBO, or, you know, stuff like that. Like I'd much rather sit in my comfortable chair with my sound system and my TV and be able to talk and rewind and skip previews. That drives me crazy.
I like going to the theater. I think it's a whole event. I like to drive in a lot more, but
I feel like the previews were okay, and Black Adam's still very long. But now going a month later to Wakanda, like we just saw the same previews.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We saw Shazam, we saw Mario, we saw that dinner date, whatever the hell.
Right.
You know, and now I've seen the previews. You know what I mean? I don't need to see them again, you know? But I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it all goes. I'm nervous about the path there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's as far as Marvel goes. There is a lot going on in the DC universe that I'm still super excited for.
Oh, but they're fine. I have my faith in them.
I'm a little confused by them, but I think they've had 3 good movies, and if they can keep that going, then we'll be good.
I think they have a dream team now, and that's what they're going to stick with.
Yeah,
and that's what they should.
But they also have like 3 universes happening in tandem with each other, which is, you know, it gets confusing if like.
But I don't think they're trying to necessarily tie everything in together with the MCU. The MCU is purposely doing. That's what the MCU is. You know, like, yeah, you have all these Marvel shit, especially like because the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man wasn't part of the MCU for the longest time. It was a Sony movie.
Yeah.
And now Marvel, you know, they got the rights to tie it into the MCU and get that storyline in there.
It goes back to what are we going to see with Kingpin and Spider-Woman, and you know what I mean?
Are we going to see Tobey again?
Right.
You know, stuff
or,
like that. You know,
Tom Holland. I can't remember the other one.
Andrew Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a Miles Morales.
Yeah,
I would love to see that.
We have
Spider-Verse
2 coming out soon.
I think they'd be kind of dumb to not put Miles in it. Everybody loves Miles. Miles just like just the way that he moves and stuff. Like I saw this TikTok the other day, and it was like people jumping on a trampoline or like jumping off of like their porch or something like that. Like a certain Spider-Man, and they're like Peter Parker dive, and then they were like Gwen dive, and then they were like Miles Morales dive, and they were like flipping. Yeah, it was really cool, and I was like, that's dope. He's like parkour almost versus like gymnastics, and like how Robin is like what tightrope walker and circus acrobat. That's it. Yeah.
I'm curious to see too, like what comes of that, because I mean we haven't gotten like an MCU Spider-Gwen yet.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't gotten an MCU Spider-Woman yet, and that's partially due to what we talked about earlier. But I mean, are we going to see like an MCU Spider-Ham? Like, are we going to see an MCU Squirrel Pool? You know, like what are we actually going to be seeing? Because I mean, I feel like they got to bring, I don't know if they got to, but I feel like Squirrel Girl isn't far away from like Miss Marvel. And
I feel like if you look at Marvel Snap, that's who they're going to be bringing in.
It could be. That's what I was wondering too.
Because I'm feeling like I'm seeing a lot of heavy hitters, and now with Wakanda and everything, and seeing who popped in there, I'm like, oh, I recognize this from Snap, and I'm like, they're doing that on purpose. I'm like, they have a little thing going there, which is kind of cool.
They have that show that I was talking about earlier that I can't remember the name of, the one with that I saw Ironheart in. They have America Chavez in that, which we got in the multiverse. Multiverse, right? Yeah, multiverse. It has Miss Marvel, which got her show this year, which is another show that just, I think it was this year. It might have been last year.
Last year, I think.
Was it? I don't know. We'll have to look into it. But it's got the Patriot, which is like young Captain America.
Okay.
And then we get things like Gwenpool, or not Gwenpool, Spider-Gwen, and Squirrel Girl, and Ironheart. So we're kind of getting all of the characters from that group. The only ones we're kind of missing now are Spider-Gwen, Patriot, and Squirrel Girl. So, I mean, they're not far away from having that movie, and then they could be in Secret Wars and all kinds of stuff too. So, I mean, there's a lot of things they could do.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know, but
it's one of those things though too. Like it makes you nervous. Like I want to see this, but like, do I want to see them do it? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I want to see.
Yeah.
But do I want to see a She-Hulk
like King in
version?
Black?
Yeah, dude.
But King in Black, I think, is a long ways in the distance.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's a multiverse type story.
Yeah.
It's a multiverse thing. We're getting into that. Venom has been a big thing, and Carnage with these last few movies. They've been trying to get Venom and Eddie Brock more and more into it.
Those don't happen in the MCU, right?
The new ones?
Yeah, the Tom Hardy ones.
I think I could have swore that I saw something the other day that
somebody told me they didn't, but
something is happening because of Carnage is in there, and they want. I don't know 100% now.
Okay,
but
we'll figure it out.
Right now I'm a little confused with that because I could have swore I saw something the other day about that being tied into the MCU, but it could have been just one of those. Those things.
This is something that you would know better than me. Doesn't Spider-Man get the black suit, and then after that, the symbiote attaches itself to Eddie Brock? Because that would mess up the timeline so much, right?
But that already happened in Spider-Man 3.
But that's a different
Toby.
universe. Yeah. That's a different universe though.
But then there's
I don't associate Andrew Garfield or Toby with anything MCU other than them making a cameo in the last Spider-Man.
Really? Okay.
I don't know.
Toby's my Spidey, but
Whoa.
I love Toby.
I don't understand that. But
That's what I grew up on. That was the first time I saw Spider-Man on the.
Well, me too.
Well, I mean he was the first Spider-Man, and I was so young that.
Yeah, I guess.
Like I was. I mean, when did that movie come out? 2004.
Maybe.
I was 6. I remember seeing it when I was 6 years old.
in high school.
And being.
I think, I don't know, 2004.
I remember being 6 years old and watching it on the big screen, and that for the longest, up until I was probably about 10 years old, he didn't have a name other than Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, like his name was not Tobey Maguire.
It's weird.
That was Peter Parker.
Because for me, hey, if you're watching this and you made it this far, let us know in the comments below, because this is something. The Spider-Mans go in exact reverse order of where they came out. So like for me, number 1 is Tom Holland, number 2 is Andrew Garfield, and 3 is Tobey Maguire.
Tom Holland's dope. Tom Holland, I like
Tom Holland is so good.
He's
I believe that man is Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I believe,
because he's so young too.
and just. I mean, he just moves like that for fun. You know, like I've seen him talk about like how he gets ready for Spider-Man. He's like, I just do this every day. Like, and he's just like climbing on stuff and hanging upside down. He's like, I just do this for fun. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
But then I watched Uncharted. I don't know if you've seen Uncharted. It comes from a PlayStation title. Tom Holland was in that, and he's doing like parkour and all kinds of stuff.
That's cool.
I'm like, this is Spider-Man.
Yeah, he is Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man Uncharted is what I saw.
Okay.
But if you haven't seen Uncharted, check out Uncharted. I think you would like it.
I know the video game. I don't have PlayStation, but I'll check it.
It's on Netflix, I believe.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I don't remember who's in that with him, but definitely worth checking out. I don't know if it's for some reason I feel like it's Woody Harrelson, but also it might be Mark Wahlberg or same people. No, it is. It's either
is it Zombieland or Ted? Because that'll tell you.
It's an action person. It is an action person, not Woody Harrelson.
Okay, yeah. I was like, then it's got to be. I mean, Marky Mark.
Yeah, it's got to be Mark Wahlberg. I don't think it's Ryan Reynolds. It's like in that vein though, like that group of guys.
Do Ryan Reynolds ever have a rap career?
I mean, he could probably. Doesn't Deadpool rap sometimes?
I don't know. Kind of.
Like Deadpool 3.
Yeah, but Marky Mark from the 90s.
Yeah.
That's how Mark Wahlberg got his start. Marky Mark, he's a little rapper.
Oh, he was in a boy band before that. I think he was in New Kids on the Block before he was Marky Mark.
Was he really?
Because his brother's in New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
Anyways, we could go into boy bands forever because that's what I grew up on. Might explain the love of Pink, but
I grew up on I had a bunch of Justin Timberlake CDs, and Michael Jackson CDs, and stuff like that. So there's a little bit in there of that for me.
Yeah, I would go from Spice Girls to Hanson to Backstreet Boys to
Chicago,
Metallica.
There you
go. But yeah, he's overall I thought the movie was really good.
I love
Wakanda Forever. Definitely recommend.
I would say a solid.
Oh yeah,
10 out of 10 stars. I would definitely give it. I gave Black Adam an 8, and I want to give this one. I want to give this one a 10 out of 10. Yeah. But I feel like I have to knock it just to knock it, but I don't want to knock it, so I'm just gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because I really don't want to knock it at all.
Yeah, my thinking is, and I don't know. Well, obviously you like this better than Black Adam, then.
I don't. That's the tough part. Is that there was some things in Black Adam that but I was also trying to give Black Adam a very fair review. But my thing right now is that I don't want to mark it because of the way, purely the fact that that everybody in the theater was so invested in those memorial scenes. The 2 moments of silence that we had, you could literally hear a pin drop, and I, not even being connected to this character like I am with anybody else, wanted to cry. And I had to stop myself almost. And that's why I want to give it the 10 out of 10, because it pulled that much emotion out of me. And Black Adam didn't do that.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Action Bronson, totally a different thing. Black Adam was was just very action packed. Half the movie seemed like it was just Injustice cutscenes, one after another.
I loved it.
That was so cool, so fun to watch. But Black Panther, like, literally made you feel every single thing that was happening, in my opinion.
It hit you right in the heart, yeah.
Like, when the ceremony was happening, when her mom died, when she was mad, when she was upset, when she got speared to the thing and she broke it, like, you were, like, wanting her to get off and stop it so, like, she could save her people. And, you know, like Black Adam was like, punch somebody else, punch him again. Yeah.
do it again. Yeah, it's just like an adrenaline rush the whole time.
I feel
this was very well balanced.
I don't remember what I gave Black Adam. I feel like it was like a 7 or an 8. I think you were like
a 7 or an 8.
I just don't want to do 10. I don't feel like I'm ready for 10.
That's what I want to say too, but just the reason I did is because of the pure emotion that I was crying. Yeah, 10 out of 10. But
I'll go 9.9.
There you go. That near mint.
I'm also
it's
thinking
mint. It's technically mint if it was a CGC grade.
9.8.
What's near mint?
I feel like there is room to improve a little bit. But I don't know. I have nothing to complain about, really. Like,
yeah, that's what I was trying to find it, and then I'm like, do I really have anything to complain
I mean, it
about?
was slow at the beginning, but I feel like that was understandable, and the end wouldn't have been as emotional if it wasn't that like if they wouldn't have invested that time to build that story. The CG didn't like throw me for a loop. We'll have to talk to Zach on that one about the Sega Genesis moment.
Her suit.
Oh, yeah, her suit.
Absolutely amazing.
There was one thing. This is the one thing that I said I wanted to talk to you about, but I didn't want to move off of Namor. Who? Okaya? Okay.
Yeah, we just had it before the podcast.
I like listened to it.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember now.
Okai or something?
Okai. That suit, she called him something. Midnight Angel or something like that when they put the blue suits on.
Oh, yeah.
Is that something from comics?
I don't know 100%. Not because I like I said, I've never been so ever really invested in the Black
That's one thing I wanted to ask you is because one, that suit was so cool.
I thought it was dope too. I thought it was cool. I was like, I need to figure out more about that.
I was kind of salty. Like, why does this person have a better suit than Ironheart? But also like she had been working on that suit for a long time and trying to pitch it to her, and she kept denying her. So that suit had been in production for a long time, you know what I mean? So, but that suit was so cool. They were like little mini iron people. You know what I mean?
It was cool.
Oh man, when I was like, where is she? They flew in. I was like, yeah.
I was waiting for Iron Man to come in for some reason at a certain point.
Iron Man's dead.
Oh yeah. But you know, it was in the back of my head. I was like, they're doing this because, like, you know, like there's no, like this is Iron Man. You know, that's what just kept popping in my head with the suits and stuff like that. Like they're just remaking Iron Man a million times. Yeah, but now we're gonna have a million Iron Men.
We're gonna have Iron Man versus the Hulks, Iron people versus Hulk people. Yeah, this movie was good. Nothing threw me off. Like, story was good, CG was good, and made me feel all kinds of emotions. There weren't huge plot holes to me. Like, they're like, I don't know if you've heard the Black Adam podcast, you heard me talk about, I think I convinced you and Zach in that podcast that these plot holes were a problem.
Oh yeah,
like you could see it, like when I was editing and listening to it, I could hear your guys' like attitude towards a change. I feel like I ruined it for you guys, but so those plot holes. And for Black Adam, like that was my biggest complaint was those plot hole storyline problems for me. I'm not getting any of that from Black Panther.
Me neither. At least not that I caught the first time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, everything kind of made sense. Like they had to go find the lady in Haiti, and that made sense because they made a thing of it. Like other than that weapon on the bottom of the boat, which I don't think is like a huge like story.
That's not like a big thing. Yeah. But like I said, for that to be the only thing is saying something.
Dang. 10. I think
boom.
10. I think 10, y'all.
I can't believe the first 10 out of 10 was a Marvel movie.
Well, I mean,
both of us.
We also didn't talk about Batman, like the Batman. You know what I mean? I think the Batman. That's one thing that we didn't talk about in the Black Adam. I feel like I
still probably wouldn't have given that a 10 out of 10.
I feel like I'm completely opposite of you guys. Because I think you had both agreed that like the Joker, like Joaquin's the Joker, Black Adam, and then the Batman was like your order, if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like it was the opposite for me. Like Joaquin Phoenix's The Joker was my 3 out of 3.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. I like the Batman. The Batman was really
Batman's
good
great,
too.
yeah.
And I waited so long to watch it because I heard nothing but bad things, and I was unsure of him, and all these things. And once I watched, I was so happy with it.
When I was watching The Joker, it didn't feel like I was watching The Joker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, I totally
it
understand.
It didn't feel like necessarily like a comic book movie. It felt like a really dramatic, almost not horror story, but like
yeah. I feel like that
got me really invested.
I feel like that's like a pro and a con for me for that movie, just because like if you took the face paint off of him and changed a couple names, that movie could have stood out on its own the exact same way.
100%.
You know what I mean? Whereas like I feel like
that's what makes it that relatable.
Right.
Is that like that's the real life Joker.
Like it's a pro and a con. Like I said, like it's such a good movie that it could do that. Like even if you're not invested in the Joker storyline, you can watch this movie, be like, oh yeah, it's Batman, but all right, and still go see a good movie. Whereas like it's also like a downfall. Like it's a Batman movie, it's a Joker movie, it's a DC movie. I want to feel that, but I also feel like it kind of connected to like Joker doesn't have any powers. Joker doesn't have any of that stuff. He doesn't have as many of the gadgets and everything as Batman. It's
crazy. Like
I want to say that lightly just because that movie played very heavily on mental health, and
yeah.
I'm not saying by any means people with mental health issues are crazy.
Yeah. Well, he was all like pilled up.
He's portrayed as that, the pills, the like the murderous tendencies, things like that.
Essentially, psychotic.
Yeah.
At that point, like there's a difference between like having mental issues and being psychotic. You know what I'm saying? Like that's different story.
I just wanted to.
Yeah.
We're not connecting those two things.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, like that's. I think it really did do a service. Like Joker gets these things done because of who he is as a person. He doesn't have all of the devices. He doesn't have superpowers. And I think that's a lot of things in like the Batman world. Like the Riddler doesn't have superpowers. He's smart and he's clever and he's witty, but that's
real people.
That's not like super strength or, stuff like that. And like Nightwing, Red Hood, like all these people, they don't have superpowers. They don't have, they don't have powers. They just are very skilled people, and they get what they need to done by any means necessary. And they, whichever side of the spectrum.
I mean, even like Hawkeye or Hawkman. You know, it's because of the nth metal.
Yeah.
And the stuff that it's made out of. That's why he has, his abilities. And he's really a smart, like, not an archaeologist or something, but.
It is. I mean, when you break it down like that, and then you're like, Batman versus Superman, it's like, how is that an argument?
Yeah, how is that even possible?
But there's a lot of stuff that movies can, and comic books and creativity can make you believe and make you feel like it's real. You know what I mean? Like, kryptonite. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's on the periodic table.
Everybody has that.
Yeah, I got a necklace made out of it at home.
Like I can see like Joker and Batman going at it. You know what I mean? Because one is just willing to do anything to push Batman's buttons and get what he wants. When Batman's got the money to do whatever he wants, but he's not willing to kill. So or willing to kill used lightly because he does kill, but but like you can believe that, like you can, but then you get people like I mean, even like Mr. Freeze, like he's got the freeze ray, but I mean he's also got a lot of, there are weaknesses, so Batman can get,
he can't be out of that suit,
right?
Like he gets out of that suit, he's
Batman
dead.
throws a batarang and shatters his helmet, or what I mean. Even like Firefly's, I feel like Firefly's pretty
Bane.
underrated.
Yeah, Bane, he just pops a tube out and he just shrinks up and shrivels up.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like
I don't know how we got here, but
yeah, me neither.
But yeah, movie very good. I liked it. I'm happy where I have a reason to go to movies because I like movies, and usually I'd have to wait until I have a chance to watch it. And now we have to make a chance to watch it. So, anything else to say about the movie?
I think that's that. I think I think we both really enjoyed it. That's been our review of it.
Yeah.
With, technically, kind of talking about it, reviewing it,
Breakdown, review.
Whatever you. Yeah, exactly. Whatever you want to call it. This is
A little bit of both.
still the Lights Comics Action Podcast.
Be
so just call
sure
it that.
to like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Whatnot. Use code Collective, not code Collective Comics, but the link in the description on Collective Comics page to sign up, and you can get $10 off.
Get a free $10 credit on your first purchase towards Whatnot when you do click that link in the bio and you sign up. It helps us out a little bit.
Yes.
Gives us $10 in credits as well, so we can get some more books, do some more reviews, things like that. One thing I did want to shout out is the audio listeners. Audio listeners are going off, and
Yes.
really, it seems like they're consuming double.
Yeah.
What others. So we want to give you guys a shout out to you guys over on Spotify and everything. If you wouldn't mind coming on over to YouTube, dropping that comment, and that'd be really cool.
Yeah, let us know. If you're on audio, come over to YouTube. Just click on the video and comment where you're listening to it, because we definitely want to show you some love. And if I can look into making it easier or better or, as accessible as possible for you, I would definitely want to do that. So let me know where you're listening. I guess I'll go on with the Dubby read because that's what I was trying to do anyways, I guess. Use code Collective Comics to get 10% off some Dubby energy at Dubby.gg, code Collective Comics at checkout. Check out the Patreon for bonus content and material. Until next time, this has been Collective Comics.
See you.